Welcome, beautiful soul. And today we're looking at someone has recently been forced to rethink everything they believed about you. Whether they underestimated you, misjudged your intentions, or convinced themselves they had you all figured out, something has happened that's challenged that story. Today we're looking at what they got wrong, what made them realize it, and how they see you now. As always, this is a collective reading, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Energy is fluid and can shift through free will and the choices people make. In front of you are 3 piles. Take a moment to see which one you're naturally drawn towards. Don't overthink it. Your first instinct is often the strongest. If you feel called to more than one pile, that's perfectly okay too, and you're more than welcome to watch more than one. I'll leave a few moments for you to choose. Okay, if you chose pile 1 here, this reading is for you. Let's find out what they were so wrong about. Okay, so we have the 8 of Pentacles, 2 of Swords, 7 of Pentacles, or the Emperor, 6 of Pentacles, Knight of Wands. Okay, straight away, I don't actually feel like this person completely understood who you were when they knew you. The energy here feels less like they deliberately misjudged you and more like they made their mind up about you far too early. It's almost as if they looked at one chapter of your life and assumed they already knew how the rest of the story was going to unfold. The first card out here is the 8 of Pentacles, followed by the 2 of Swords. What's interesting is that the 2 of Swords tells me this person wasn't seeing you clearly. There was a blockage here, whether that came from their own assumptions, their own fears, or simply not paying enough attention. They had a very fixed perception of who you were. I almost feel like they underestimated you. For some of you, they may have believed you weren't really making progress. They may have thought you were stuck, indecisive, or that you would eventually give up on whatever it was you were working towards. But what they completely failed to see is represented by the 8 of Pentacles here, because while they weren't paying attention, you were working quietly, consistently. You weren't looking for validation. You weren't trying to prove yourself to anybody. You were simply putting one brick on top of another. Whether this was healing, building your confidence, working on your career, your finances, your spiritual journey, or simply becoming a stronger version of yourself. You kept showing up even when nobody was watching, and I think that's exactly what they missed. The 7 of Pentacles tells me this person has recently been forced to stop and look back. It's almost like they're reviewing everything with a completely different perspective now. They're looking at where you are today and suddenly realizing just how much growth happened while they weren't paying attention. I almost hear them thinking, how did I not see this? Because the person standing in front of them now doesn't match the picture they had in their mind. Then we move on to the Emperor, and honestly, I think this is where the biggest shift happens. The Emperor is someone who knows who they are, someone who has boundaries, someone who has built stability and confidence from the ground up. This isn't someone constantly seeking approval from other people. It's someone who has become their own authority. I actually wonder whether this person expected you to stay exactly where they left you, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Maybe they thought you would always be available to them or always see yourself the way they saw you. Instead, you've grown into someone they now have to respect. Then with the 6 of Pentacles, this is really interesting because I don't actually feel this is talking about generosity as much as it's talking about balance. This person is recognizing something they didn't before. For some of you, they're realizing that they were the one putting in more effort. Maybe you were giving more emotionally. Maybe you were more patient, more understanding, or more willing to invest in the connection than they ever acknowledged. It's almost as though the scales have finally balanced, and now they're seeing your value from a completely different perspective. Then the final card's the Knight of Wands. This tells me there's definitely movement here. This person may suddenly feel inspired to reach out, reconnect, or move towards you in some way. They're feeling drawn towards the version of you they've only just realized exists. But I do want to offer a little caution here. The Knight of Wands brings passion, excitement, and impulse, but it doesn't always bring consistency. And then let's look at the hidden energy at the bottom of the deck. We have the Four of Wands. I actually love seeing this here because it feels like the foundation of the entire reading. This tells me you have built something solid within yourself, whether that's your confidence, your healing, your home life, your career, or simply your sense of self. You've created stability that didn't exist before. Ironically, I think that's exactly what this person never expected. They underestimated your resilience. They underestimated your ability to keep going when things were difficult. They underestimated who you were becoming. And now they're looking at someone they don't quite recognize anymore. Not because you've become someone else, but because you've become more of who you were always meant to be. That's everything I have for you, beautiful souls of pile 1. I hope this resonated. Let me know in the comments below, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Alright, if you chose pile 2, this reading is for you. If you felt drawn to any of the other 2 piles, you're more than welcome to watch them as well. Okay, so we have the King of Cups, the Page of Wands, the Eight of Wands, the Emperor, the Nine of Wands, and the Knight of Wands. This feels like a completely different energy from pile 1. Straight away, I don't actually think this person underestimated what you could achieve. I think they underestimated who you are as a person. The first card is the King of Cups. And this immediately tells me that your emotional depth is something they never fully appreciated. The King of Cups isn't someone who wears every emotion on their sleeve. This is someone who feels deeply but doesn't always need to prove it. Someone emotionally mature. Someone who remains calm even when life becomes chaotic. I almost feel like this person mistook your emotional stability for emotional weakness. Perhaps because you stayed calm. They assumed you didn't care. Perhaps because you didn't chase. They assumed your feelings weren't genuine. Or maybe because you handled difficult situations with grace. They thought you weren't affected by them at all, but they were completely wrong. And the Page of Wands tells me the realization almost arrived unexpectedly. It's like a spark, a moment, a conversation. Something they saw, something they heard, something happened that completely challenged the story they'd been telling themselves about you. Then we move into the Eight of Wands. And this tells me that once that realization began, it happened very quickly, almost like one piece of information led to another. And suddenly, everything started making sense. I actually feel like this person has been connecting dots, looking back over old conversations, remembering things you said, realizing they completely misunderstood your intentions. What's also fascinating is that the Emperor has appeared again. We saw this in pile 1 as well. Whenever I see the same major arcana appearing across different piles, I pay attention because it often tells me there's a message many people watching this reading need to hear. The Emperor speaks about respect, authority, confidence, someone who knows exactly who they are. I honestly feel this person has gone from seeing you one way to suddenly viewing you as someone they deeply respect, almost wondering, when did they become this strong? But I don't actually think you suddenly became stronger. I think they're only just noticing the strength that was always there. Now I have to talk about the fire energy. We have the Page of Wands, the Eight of Wands, Nine of Wands, Knight of Wands. Even the Emperor here carries Aries energy, which is also fire. This reading is absolutely overflowing with movement. It's almost impossible for this person to ignore what they're feeling anymore. Something has been set in motion. Something has shifted. Whether they're trying to fight it or not, their perspective has changed. The Nine of Wands tells me they may still have their guard up. There could be pride here, fear, past wounds. Maybe they know they judged you unfairly, but admitting that isn't easy. This card feels like someone standing there wondering whether it's too late. And the final card is the Knight of Wands. Now, this tells me I wouldn't be surprised if this person suddenly became much more present in your life. Perhaps they reach out unexpectedly. Perhaps they begin interacting with your social media. Perhaps they become much more visible than they have been. But just like I mentioned in the previous pile, the knight is still learning. There's definitely passion here, and there's definitely movement, but I would still allow their actions over time to show you who they've become rather than making assumptions based on one moment of enthusiasm. Let's check on the hidden energy at the bottom of the deck. And we have the Queen of Swords. And I actually think this is beautiful because the Queen of Swords tells me you've developed discernment. You've become someone who doesn't simply accept people back into your life because they finally understand your value. You're asking much better questions now. Can I trust this person? Have they actually changed? Are their actions matching their words? I honestly think that's what this person was wrong about. They thought your kindness meant you were easy to read. They thought your calmness meant you were emotionally simple. Instead, they're discovering they never truly understood the depth, resilience, and wisdom you carried all along. Let me know in the comments below if this resonated with you, the beautiful souls of pile 2, and hopefully I'll see you in the next reading. Alright, if you picked pile 3 here, this reading is for you. Let's see what comes through. I feel like this pile's very sure of themselves. What do we have? Six of Swords, Knight of Pentacles, Strength. Oh, the Hermit, okay. The Emperor, and the King of Swords. I kid you not, the Emperor has come out in every single pile now. I've got no words, okay. This reading feels incredibly mature compared to the other two piles. I don't actually feel like there's as much emotional chaos here. Instead, this feels like someone who's had a lot of time to think. The first card, the Six of Wands. Straight away, I feel this person completely misunderstood your decision to move forward. Whether you physically walked away from them, emotionally detached, stopped reaching out, or simply chose your own peace. I think they interpreted that as giving up, almost as though they thought, well, I guess they didn't care that much after all. But that's not what this card says to me. The Six of Swords isn't about running away. It's about choosing peace over conflict. It's about recognizing when something is no longer healthy and having the courage to leave it behind. I actually think that's what they completely failed to understand. The Knight of Pentacles tells me they also underestimated your patience, your consistency, your ability to quietly keep moving forward. This isn't someone who needed overnight success. This is someone willing to take one small step after another, even when progress felt painfully slow. I almost feel this person expected you to come back, expected you to change your mind. They expected you to wait. Instead, You kept moving, slowly perhaps, but you never stopped. Then we move on to strength. And honestly, I think this is the heart of the reading because I don't think this person realized just how much self-control it took for you to leave. Strength isn't loud, it isn't dramatic. It's choosing not to react. It's choosing dignity when your emotions are pulling you in another direction. It's loving yourself enough to stop chasing what wasn't choosing you. And I actually feel this person thought walking away was easy for you. I don't think it was. I think it was one of the hardest things you've ever had to do. And the Hermit follows beautifully because this tells me your time alone wasn't wasted. You weren't sitting there waiting, you were reflecting. You're healing, learning, getting to know yourself again, growing wiser. I almost feel this person thought your silence meant nothing was happening, when in reality, your biggest transformation happened when nobody else could see it. Now, once again, the Emperor has appeared. This is the third pile in a row where we've seen this card, and I honestly don't think that's a coincidence. I think Spirit's really highlighting a collective message here. No matter which pile people chose, there's a strong theme of stepping into your own authority, owning your value, becoming someone who no longer needs outside validation to know who they are. I actually think this person has realized that too. They're no longer looking at someone they think they understand. They're looking at someone they deeply respect. And our final card, the King of Swords, this tells me they've gained clarity. The fog has lifted. They're seeing the situation much more objectively now. Perhaps they're realizing they judged you unfairly. Perhaps they've recognized the role they played. Perhaps they've finally understood why you made the choices you did. Whatever it is, they're thinking much more logically now than they were before. And now let's look at the hidden energy at the bottom of the deck. And we have the Five of Pentacles. This actually makes me a little sad because I almost feel this is the energy they're sitting in now. The absence they once dismissed, they're feeling it. The distance they once thought didn't matter, now it does. Whether that's loneliness, regret, or simply recognizing what they lost, there's definitely a sense of emotional lack surrounding this card. But I also want to leave you with one final thought. This reading isn't really about whether they've realized they were wrong. I think they have. The real question is, have they realized it early enough? Because the person they're finally beginning to understand isn't the same person they once took for granted. You're no longer standing where they left you. You've continued moving forward, and I honestly don't think they're ever going to forget that. Let me know in the comments below if this resonated with you. I hope it did, and I will see you hopefully in the next video. I don't know if anyone stayed for the very end. If you did, we actually got the Emperor in all three piles. Again, that's such a strong message, and I've never done a pick a pile reading like this before, so to have that happen, it's just really beautiful, and it just really shows me as well that there's always collective messages that need to be talked about and shared. So I'm really glad I've decided to jump over to YouTube where I can do these longer videos. Don't forget to subscribe so you keep up to date with videos that I'll be releasing. I'm going to do 2 of these longer videos a week, and I'll be uploading shorts as well. I hope you enjoy the content. It's coming with so much love and peace. It's such an important thing, I think, that needs to be spread in the world today. Sending you all my love as always, and I really do hope to see you in my next video.